There are people who believe that the Earth is flat. They really believe it. They're not just saying it as a thought experiment or as a troll or a wind-up. They teach it to their family. They try to persuade other people of it. It's part of who they are. I expect that flat earthers don't spend all day thinking about how the Earth is flat, but it's certainly a core belief that they hold on to strongly. Now, I don't believe that there are any flat earthers watching this video, so we should all be able to agree that the Earth is not flat. It's a globe, or something globe-like at least. We know that the Earth goes around the sun, and that this is how we get day and night and summer and winter, and it fully defines how we live our lives. And yet, no one really gets too upset about flat earthers. The people who believe that the Earth is a globe, in the majority, don't really have a problem with the fact that there is a minority of people who believe that the Earth is flat. They might laugh about it, or perhaps get rather concerned when a flat earther wants to teach in a school or wants to hold political office. But no one's really that upset about it otherwise. We're happy for flat earthers to get on with their day. You know, if it's your bin man or, even a weatherman. There are lots of jobs that flat earthers can have that we're happy for them to have. And even if they are in positions of power, most people are pretty all right with flat earthers having positions of influence as long as they don't bring in the flat earth philosophy into that influential position. They're not using their position of authority to persuade others of flat earthism. It's not illegal for flat earthers to make YouTube videos, and it's not illegal for them to be school teachers, although people might be slightly uncomfortable if their children were being taught by flat earthers. And I think that's correct. I think even though being a flat earther is absurd and silly and stupid, I'm not going to be upset about it, and I don't want any flat earthers to go to prison or to be barred from any particular line of work just because of their bizarre beliefs. And yet, I don't think I would be able to trust a flat earther with a very complex job. I wouldn't really have any faith in them to complete anything to do with geography. I wouldn't want them flying a plane. No, it's not that I wish them ill, but I just would like people who have power over me, who are doing things that are complicated and difficult. I'd like those people, doctors and plane engineers. I want them to have like a really good grip on reality. I want those people to be the most logical, reasonable, boring people possible. I'd like you to consider a hypothetical situation where a flat earther became, let's say, the host of a popular TV show, not a fiction show where they're just reading lines. You can think of Tom Cruise being a Scientologist or being, which is kind of a funny thing to believe in. But we don't really mind him being an extremely famous movie star and being the producer on many films and being basically in our faces all the time, because Scientology doesn't really enter into the entertainment that he produces. But if we go into, let's say, a late night show, an interview style show, maybe a show that covers politics or news, the fact that the host was a Scientologist or a flat earther might start to creep into the quality of the show and how much you could really appreciate it. But it still probably wouldn't be a problem at a societal level. I wouldn't try to raise a moral panic about the fact that one host had some bizarre beliefs that they occasionally paid lip service to on their TV show. But if it was every TV show host, every news anchor, every late night interviewer, every podcast host, who all were in the cult of Scientology, or they subscribe to flat earther beliefs, you might start to think that perhaps this belief system has more influence than it perhaps deserves. And the problem becomes, well, what can you do about that? Getting upset about it and boycotting it doesn't really do much, and attempts to produce entertainment media created by more sensible people just results in a sort of lack of funding and a kind of lower quality just as a result of that. And perhaps the more astute among you will have figured out where I'm going with this already. Or maybe I'll put something clever in the title that will suggest to you that I'm not really talking about flat earthers or Scientologists who are an amusing distraction to ponder on occasionally. But in fact, I'm more considering the impact of, I guess we can call it, gender ideology on our society. I believe that it's not well understood, or I haven't seen it well articulated, exactly what it is about gender ideology that upsets people, that makes them fight back against it.
Leavers propose changes to a section of state law about artificial insemination. Husband, man, mother, and father would be replaced with terms like person, spouse, and inseminated person.
The accusations that are often hurled at J.K. Rowling are that she is just pointlessly persecuting a small minority of people who don't have any institutional power.
In a few short years, J.K. Rowling has gone from accidental likes to saying she'd march with trans people if we were being discriminated against. I mean, if it's every day. To responding to trans women are women by saying no, just no. And now she's reached a point of denying that the Nazis banned trans books and research.
I think I know why J.K. Rowling and a lot of people like her are upset about this issue and are interested in fighting back against what they consider to be just widespread delusion and confusion, and basically a lot of people with more power than they should have who believe very bizarre things. Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. This must be the part of the video where I tell you about today's sponsor, me. As well as being a YouTuber, I'm also an illustrator, and you can commission an illustration from me for as little as £12. To see what I've been working on, you can follow me on Instagram, and there's a link to that page in the description of this video. Let's get back to the video now, where I'm sure I'm about to say something really interesting. I think that the focus on women's spaces and bathrooms and changing rooms, and even to an extent the objections to teenage transition and puberty blockers, I think all of that is kind of a distraction from what really upsets people, which is just the institutional power of people who believe something that to a lot of people is as bizarre as believing that the earth is flat.
All women and people with a cervix between the ages of 25 and 64 will be invited for a smear test. Women and people with a cervix.
It's kind of upsetting for somebody who has power over you to assert something that you know not to be true. If I can use a very much overused analogy, I'd say that it's rather Orwellian. It's rather reminiscent of 1984, not because it's authoritarian exactly, but it's just sort of maddening. It's demoralizing to be told by people with authority something that is just bizarre and untrue. And it makes people deeply suspicious of the authorities. All the politicians, all of the media. It makes regular, ordinary people very distrustful of the system, of society. That it makes people question if anything that they hear is really true.
We guys, if we go for a X-ray, we have to the NHS, before they will X-ray us, we have to tell them whether or not we're pregnant in case the gamma rays, the X-rays damage our unborn child, which is pretty unlikely if you're male. And yet, due to wokery, that nonsense persists. So I hereby salute a GP, a general practitioner, Dr. Stephen McAndrew, up in Scotland, who went to donate blood and was made to, or was required to sign a form confirming that he was not pregnant. He said, "I'm a doctor and I'm a male. Don't be so ridiculous." So he refused, and for that reason they declined to take his blood. He said that he just thought it was time to make a stand. He said, "This is bonkers." And that, and I quote, he said, "I have a nagging feeling that it is political correctness gone too far." In the NHS down here, mothers are still referred to as birthing people.
And this frustration, I believe, often comes out as hatred and disgust. And yeah, there are some people who are genuinely hateful, and they use this very powerful emotive language to describe certain, sexual and gender minorities, when really I think that's I think the entire problem has been misdiagnosed to a certain extent. The problem is not that some people wish to wear different clothes, or to have surgery, or to have hormonal replacement treatments. That's not happening to that many people, and although you might not agree with it, it's you don't have to agree with it. There's also very bad things that happen to a great number more people, even in this country, or your country, whatever the country that is. There are much worse things that the government does to people, that people do to themselves. But it's that mismanagement of authority that I think is really riling people up.
There are anomalies in human nature, whereas
yes.
The vast majority of people, I'm sorry, are still male or female. And certainly every cell in our body is dictating one of those other sexes. I mean, obviously,
the hormones are. Yeah.
Obviously, also I make sperm and other people make eggs.
That's what hormones do. Yeah.
You can't deny that. Okay. So but we, as liberals, I think, agree that, there are anomalies in nature, and they should be respected and protected. But this attempt to reorganize all of society around what a very tiny percentage, who, again, we can protect and respect without pretending that every baby is a jump ball, like penis. What the I don't know. That doesn't mean anything. We have no idea what this child is. I mean, that seems to be where you want to go.
It's the blatant falsehood of it. And I think if we can target that and understand that more, then we might do better at combating it.
Stop it.
There are 4 lights.
Gosh! How many do you see now?
And I think I do understand why people who are in power, people who are who like to think of themselves as very open-minded and kind, that why they would take on these beliefs that I think are very odd, that I think are bizarre and incorrect. There is a certain logic to it. To make a long story short, I think they sort of glorify the idea of themselves being this extremely empathetic, open-minded person. They just are in love with this idea of themselves being so open-minded and kind, and they really want other people to know how open-minded and kind they are, which is why they spread these beliefs. That's why they tell other people about it, and if they have a platform to announce it, or to change the colours of their company's logo, or whatever it could be, they'll grab any opportunity to virtue signal about it, because they think it's just the best thing you can be. But for a lot of people, having an accurate view of reality, being intelligent and reasoned, is the best thing you can be. Even better than being open-hearted and kind.
My mother used to say to me, she'd say, "In this world, Elwood, you must be oh so smart, or oh so pleasant." Well, for years I was smart. I recommend pleasant.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Having a steadfast commitment to the truth, to reality, in disregarding what other people think or what other people will say about you, it's almost like a personality fault. It's almost sort of socially dysfunctional to be that committed to the truth, when really there's so much more to gain socially from just being just constantly signaling kindness and open-mindedness and being erudite and intellectual. There's so much more rewarding than being kind of boring and just committed to reality. And I know already that there's going to be people in the comments who are watching this video who really want me to believe that my way of life is in danger, that my free speech is in danger, and that these wokies want me and my family to be lined up against a wall and shot or put in prison. But I really don't think that's a large number of people. I think to what you could call the wokies, or even just to the mainstream, someone with my beliefs is just a kind of a weird, quirky person, like a flat earther. I think they just think that I'm some kind of weird social outcast who probably doesn't have any friends. And to be honest, they're not completely wrong. So what I'm saying is that the woke weirdos, they may be, and of course they have way too much influence in the media and even in sort of education, but I think that it's a mistake to be absolutely, furious or disgusted, although sometimes it's very cathartic to express those emotions and to seek out stimulus that makes us feel that way. I think the only way that progress can ever be made is to accurately diagnose what is really happening, and that's what I'm attempting to do in this video and on this channel. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you'll join me for my future videos. Until next time, goodbye and have a good day.